All right, maybe you are wondering why people buy luxury brands. If you have never bought luxury brands or you don't like spending a lot of money, maybe you're scratching your head trying to figure out why people seemingly waste money or overpay for something that they could get for far less. In fact, they might be able to get something that is more functional, more reliable, more useful, and pay far less money. So, what is it about luxury brands that seems to resonate with people? So, in this teaching, this training, I'm going to cover that exact topic. My name is John S. Rhodes. I left a high profile, easy to understand six-figure job to begin working online with my brother Matt Rhodes so that we could help other people enjoy financial freedom using the same kinds of tools, same techniques, same patterns of being, living, and producing value creation. And we are here now with you to help you do that. In this training, you'll see exactly how some of the thinking rolls out into the world, into products, and how you can think about luxury brands, but because perhaps you are thinking about selling luxury goods or you're entering a luxury market. This is John S. Rhodes of the Rhodes Brothers, and yes, this is Greater Wealth Through Mastery. So let's first start with this. I like to use the example of one of my friends. We'll call my friend Ted. So Ted is an avid golfer. He didn't start out that way, but he became a golfer. And I remember the early days. He's like, maybe I'll golf. And then other people were golfing and he went and he felt like a fool, didn't have the right equipment. And so he started buying and buying and buying and buying. And he found himself buying one luxury golf item after another. It was like a feeding frenzy. Everything golf related, he would buy. Clubs, training programs, the shoes, the spikes, right? The clothing, the balls themselves. He went to pros and on and on. He spent a tremendous amount of money. It was a feeding frenzy for him. And so these were luxury items that he was buying, not all of them. Some of them were cheaper. He did buy some used stuff, but he replaced the used with new and he bought, bought, bought. What is the mindset of this kind of buyer? Now, it could be high end too. This could be someone who's buying, a multi-million dollar house. What is it they're doing? Or more typically, someone who's going to buy, let's say, like a handbag or luxury clothing, and it's many hundreds, if not even thousands of dollars. What is the psychology here? Well, the very first piece of this is actually not so much psychology as it is physiology. So psychology is kind of like the mental aspect of the buying behavior, whereas physiology is literally the electrochemical soup in your mind. And what it comes down to, first and foremost, is the dopamine rush. When we buy something new and it's something that we want, we feel good. We feel good. Now, you might not feel good. You might have trained your brain to not spend on luxury items. Like you don't get the yip, you don't get the aha, you don't get the excitement. And for many, many, many years, that's how I was. In fact, I got the opposite. If I spent money, I felt down and depressed. I truly did. Whereas if I saved money, I felt much better because I was saving for my future. I was planning for my future. I was investing in my future, so I didn't want to spend the extra money. But there are a huge number of people, I'd say the majority of people, in fact, that they are very interested in buying for the sake of literally buying and then feeling good because it activates the mind and the feelings. Now, that does not last, but that doesn't matter. When people are thinking about buying the luxury item, up until the point that they actually buy it, assuming there's no buyer's remorse and so forth, immediately after buying, there's a fair amount of time that there are some really good feelings here. Obviously, there are people that do have the buyer's remorse and they feel awful and terrible afterwards. And then there are still others where they feel pretty good for a while, but eventually it's like, meh. They don't really care an awful lot down the road. Now, there are people, and it's very rare, where they buy a luxury item or something that seems as a stretch far beyond them. They buy it, and it typically, for that kind of person, can stay high. But there are not many people that are like that, where it feels good and stays in that sort of space of feeling awesome for a long time. That's the first reason, the dopamine. Number two, is status and identity. So people will spend a tremendous amount of money so that they can peacock, so that they can stand out from the crowd because they crave attention. They actually want the attention and they're willing to pay for it. They want to brag. They want bragging rights. They don't want to just keep up with the Joneses. They want to surpass the Joneses. They want to feel superior. That's status. That's pecking order, right? So you're looking to be through a purchase, you're looking to be at a higher level. You're looking also in the same way to identify yourself with other people that buy high status luxury goods. So you're looking to buy your way into the club. Now, obviously that doesn't work in most cases, but it works in the mind of the buyer. And if it works in the mind of the buyer, that's all that matters. You see, perception here with luxury goods is far more important than the reality. Perception beats reality when it comes to luxury goods. As I said very early on, you could have something that's the same or even higher quality, yet the price is lower. Higher price does not mean that it is better, but the perceived value is often much higher. Hence, status and identity as being something better and more wonderful because more money was spent. It seems like that's the equation. More money, more awesome. Therefore, I spend more money, I'm more awesome. That's how the simple mental math, the mechanics work. Now, the third thing is there are people, if you think about this, it's really fascinating. There are people that try to control the outside material world, and they're trying to master, trying to dominate the outside world. Maybe the inside is a total wreck. Maybe the inside is set in a particular framework. There's a model that the buyer is using. There's like maybe a mental model that they use. Buying luxury means this happens to me. This is the kind of person that I am, right? It's almost robotic. It's stimulus response in a lot of ways. But tied to that is that by buying, you are controlling. And if you're buying something that costs more, you're controlling something that seems larger than life, that seems bigger, that seems more important. So you're trying to achieve mastery through materialism. So the more you spend, the more mastery you think you have as a luxury buyer. Now, again, this is not everyone. This is just for a huge number of people, and this is why many people buy luxury brands. It is truly psychology mixed with that physiology that I had started with. But it is internal, but as I've also just demonstrated very clearly, it's also external. So we have internal and external factors at play. We've only gone through 3 of these. So number 4 is the power of belonging. And you see, we don't need to be part of a large herd. We don't mind being separate from the main herd or being, average or normal like everyone else in many things. Like if I eat a hamburger and you eat a hamburger, fine, whatever. If it's from the same place or a different place, it's like, fine, whatever. But what you'll find is that when it comes to certain items at certain times in certain places, that you can belong to a better group in your mind. You can be part of a better group by spending a ton of money. Now, an example of this, sticking with golf from earlier, is you might join an exclusive golf club. Right, so you might join, the most expensive place in your area, and you pay very high dues, and then you're rubbing elbows with the elite. Now, you might actually get real benefits from spending more. I know plenty of people that are part of these exclusive groups because they bought into these groups. They spent the money and now they're part of the group. They've sort of waved the flag like, I've got money, and that is a signal to other people like, yep, if he's here, he must have spent or she must have spent a lot of money to get in. It's almost like a litmus test. It's a mechanism by which you can say, all right, if they spent that much money, then they must have money. They must generate that much money, right? So that's like riches and wealth, but there's also related to that the cash flow that is assumed. So that's another topic for another day when we talk about wealth versus cash flow, not the same thing. But you get the point is that you can feel like you belong to an elite club or certain groups of people that you want to be in for whatever reason. So that can be pretty practical. If you're like a salesperson and you're trying to get close to high net worth clients, that can make perfect sense. And then it's very rational. But there are plenty of people who just want to belong, and that's the key here. They just want to belong to this higher status group, or at least higher status in their mind. Higher status or not, I don't know. That's very, very perceptually and sociologically connected, right? It's less about the absolute, universal truth. Is that group better or not? I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but it's the perception and it's the sociology of it that matters here. And the last thing, and definitely stick with me for this because there's a little extra tip here at the end, is that there are people that buy luxury goods because they can't help it. And what I really mean by that is they have the collector's mindset. So you might, and I go back to the golf example, like, oh, I want that next golf club. I want that next golf putter, let's say, is a good example, like this elite putter or driver, something very specific. Or it could be almost anything where you want to get the next one or you want to add to the collection. You want to stand out. I actually know a guy, this is insane. He had many Ferraris. He was a Ferrari collector. So he had the like little Ferrari matchboxes. He had Ferrari wallets. He had Ferrari purses for his wife. He had Ferrari watches. And again, he had multiple Ferraris. So he obviously was a collector of Ferrari stuff. He wanted to buy that lifestyle. He wanted to buy all the material goods, right? He wanted to be part of the Ferrari club. Quite literally, that was his thing. So he wanted to collect. So obviously that made him feel good. That gave him a certain status. It certainly gave him a sense of mastery of sorts, and he probably felt like he belonged to that club. But for him in particular, it was a very, very collector-oriented mindset. Now, on this video, you'll see the next video popping up, and it's going to help you tremendously with your next breakthrough. So I strongly encourage you to click on that video. I can't wait to see you in that video because I'm telling you, it's really something special. My brother Matt Rhodes and I really do appreciate you. If you got a lot out of this video, please give it a like and also be sure to subscribe to the Rhodes Brothers channel. All right, we'll see you in the next teaching, the next training. Thank you very much. Take care.